in a moment. Can you hear me well?
We can hear you.
Okay, great. So thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Dmitry Sumin. I'm working for AB Handshake currently. My previous experience includes something like 16 years within the telecom sphere, and primarily in international roaming, international interconnect, and actually the fraudulent use of these services. So this includes 13 years within the MTS group, MTS Russia, and a number of other telecom operators. So today we'll be speaking about the detection of call stretching and OTT termination. And before we do switch on to that topic, I'd like to give you a brief overview of who is AB Handshake and what we are doing. So AB Handshake is a company that has developed the AB Handshake validation solution. And currently we are promoting this solution, and we have created a global reseller chain. We have our partners based all around the world, helping us to reach out to different operators. We also do this directly. So this helped us over the last 8 months to reach out to over 150 operators around the world, and also talk to a number of national telecom regulators. So today's session will be based on what we actually heard in terms of feedback from our clients, and what patterns do we see when analyzing this feedback. Now, of course, the title of our session may seem a bit random because seemingly call stretching and OTT bypass are not directly connected, if I may say so. But there is a connection between the two scenarios. Well, primarily, of course, they are two different types of international voice fraud. And these are scenarios that are costing operators billions of dollars each year. Now, on a deeper level, we see that both of these fraud scenarios are currently being somewhat underestimated by many of the operators in the industry. We see that in terms of direct loss, they are, for example, far more serious than robocalls, which are getting a lot of attention during the recent years, and specifically for well, both from the operators and from the regulators. However, when we reach out to our clients, and when we, of course, we start every discussion with a new client by asking what pain they are trying to solve, what kind of problem with fraud do they have, and neither call stretching nor OTT bypass are, well, they're both seldomly mentioned, so they are not the primary focus of, well, many of our clients at least. However, and maybe as a consequence of that, we see that most of the solutions currently are not capable of dealing with such fraud scenarios. So we are in this short session, we will try to figure out what's the reason for the situation, and is it possible to do something with that. Now, when we speak about call stretching, we should really speak about two different scenarios, because they are kind of two basic versions to most widespread version of call stretching. First of all, there's the classic one, the old one. So in this case, there's a conversation going on between A and B. And at some point of the conversation, the B party disconnects the call, hangs up the phone. However, this disconnect message is not properly relayed down the stream of carriers, because one of the carriers decides to kind of hold on to the call for some elongated period of time to be able to invoice for us some additional seconds. And then after some pause, the disconnect message is relayed again up the stream. So in this case, of course, customer A will be overcharged, which is not a very good thing to do. And another situation that's created by this scheme is that the actual durations of the call logged by the B side and the A side will be different. So what's really likely to happen is that there'll be a dispute arising from this scenario, because the durations won't match, and so this will cause billing problems for the operators. Now, but this scenario is not nearly as bad as the kind of new call stretching, which has been registered somewhat recently. So in this case, what happens is that during a normal conversation, the conversation that seems normal, a fraudulent carrier is actually secretly recording the voice of one of the parties. So in this case, the voice of the B party is being recorded. And at a random point of the conversation, the disconnect message is sent by an intermediate carrier to the B party. And so the B party is disconnected from the call. And at the same time, the pre-recorded voice of the B party is played back to party A. Of course, party A needs some time to figure out what's happening. And this can take up to several minutes in our experience. And for all this time is pure income for carrier 2, which is the fraudulent carrier in our diagram. Now, this causes really a number of problems. Well, first of all, again, there's the problem of overcharging customer A for the service that was actually not the service he wanted to receive. However, secondly, and this is even more serious situation, is that customer A, after hearing a recorded conversation while speaking over the phone, has really every right to complain about the violation of his privacy. So this is quite a serious charge. And of course, in our scenario, operator A will be the operator which will have to answer those charges. And this is bad alone if this is a kind of a standalone customer. So, well, he may be angry and he would maybe like his number ported to another carrier, to another service provider. But in our experience, we had a scenario when this was a somewhat private call between uh, employees of a uh, kind of diplomats. Yes, so there was kind of sensible conversation going on, and it was being recorded. So that really caused a massive problem for the carrier in case. So recording, voice, recording conversations is really a bad thing to face, and with so much problem arising from this scenario, the operators really have every incentive to tackle this efficiently. However, at the moment, the efficiency is not what it needs to be. So what are the problems? Uh, Basically, there are two problems with call stretching. The first problem is that without any kind of direct relationship, any kind of direct coordination and direct uh, interaction between the two endpoints, which is the operator A and operator B, it's really too impossible to prevent this kind of fraud or to act before it actually happens. So of course, it's possible to afterwards. It's possible to reach out to your partner to try to compare the billing data, and actually in this way to establish the actual duration of the call without the fraud element. But this is acting afterwards, and this will not help in case the customer has already heard his voice, the recorded voice, his recorded conversation over the phone. So this is really not a good way forward. And another problem is that a lot of solutions currently on the market are focused on checking whether the call is valid at the beginning of the call. So for example, before the call is actually established, such solutions can check whether it's coming from a legit source, checking, well, if really everything is good with the source of the call, with the destination of the call. So really can this kind of subscriber expect a call from this destination, or should he really be allowed to call that destination? But after the call is set up and after the call is started, after this subscribers actually started talking, most of the solutions don't actually take any part in call validation after that point. And that is actually the time when call stretching occurs. So in order to overcome this issue, the anti-fraud solutions really need to focus not only on the start of the call, but also on the end of the call. So what can be done? Currently, the kind of widely recommended approaches are not too effective. So first of all, the basic recommendation is to change routing based on complaints. But well, not each subscriber will complain, obviously, and the analysis of complaints will not allow to find 100% of such fraudsters. So this is acting late and acting without a guarantee. Again, there's another recommended option. That's the option to run test campaigns to identify the routes where where carriers doing call stretching can intervene with the calls. However, also this doesn't give 100% accuracy, 100% guarantee, and also changing the routing based on either of these options also doesn't give a guarantee, because when you change routing to a certain destination to another next hop carrier, you have no guarantee that somewhere down the line you won't be facing the same fraudulent carrier again. Then there's a third option, kind of a more recent option, that's call validation. It seems better, but it also has its kind of problems. So first of all, call validation depends on the number of operators participating in a given solution or validation method. Secondly, for validation methods, we also have this problem of the end of the call. So if the validation solution performs validation only at the call start, it won't really help against call stretching. So, for example, uh, solutions based on the star-shaken framework will not be able to tackle this specific problem. So all solutions, all kind of methods have their drawbacks. However, what's crucial here in our point of view is that the drawbacks of more traditional methods are inherent. So, well, there's no way of running test campaigns 24/7 with all your traffic, or there's no way of comparing CDRs in real time. But what concerns call validation, these drawbacks can be overcome. So, if there's kind of an industry consensus on that the call validation is the way to move forward to eliminate this type of fraud, the needed number of participants can be easily reached. Now over to OTT bypass. This is kind of a comparatively new type of fraud, and we see in our negotiations with the operators that not all of them are facing significant amounts of this fraud at the moment, or at least they haven't detected significant amounts of OTT bypass at the moment. But the trend is upwards, so it's rising around the world. Uh, so what happens here is that somewhere down the path of a call, uh, the normal voice call is transmitted by one of the carriers to an internet session through some kind of messenger, and is routed and by it reaches the B customer by means of this messenger instead of actually a voice call. So what happens in this case? Of course, the terminating operator loses revenue because doesn't receive his fair fee for the termination. Now, also there's this affects the originator of the call because, of course, such termination method gives lower quality. So he's likely to receive customer complaints for bad voice quality, and subsequently, the revenue will also decline because not much subscribers would like to use this kind of service at the same cost of kind of normal call, but with lower quality. And obviously that harms end users too, because well, they get they get the service for the same price, but with low quality again. So that's again a lose-lose situation. Now, what's the problem with OTT bypass? The first problem is that it's kind of uh, it's divided between two spheres. So it originates as a voice call, but no voice call actually reaches the B party. And at the end, in the B side, we have an internet session. So this transit from voice to data makes it really hard to detect. Uh, Subsequently, it cannot be detected by the terminated side alone and blocked as a normal voice call because there's no actual voice call in this common sense. Also, it's quite difficult to devise rules and algorithms for OTT traffic because Well, it can be a call with it, from one messenger to another, which is perfectly legal, but it can be a voice call that can be that has been transmitted to this kind of a messenger solution. So it's really hard to tell which is which, because the same subscribers during the same day can call each other using both voice, classical voice, and OTT means. So it's really hard to kind of train systems to tell which is which. So again, what can be done? Well, the options are pretty much the same as for call stretching. So again, this can be done to CDR analysis. So at the end of a certain period, you can compare records with the operator A to see which calls you were intended to receive and which calls you actually did receive. But again, that can give you some picture, but it makes the actual prevention of the fraud impossible. Again, testing campaigns can be run, but this will allow you to find only a portion of the legal routes. And if these test campaigns use generated traffic, they are really not very efficient, because fraudsters really calculate these routes very quickly. And what we are seeing now in negotiations with our partners is that testing campaigns are becoming a less popular product for the very reasons I mentioned. So in our view, the only sound option is actual validation, call validation. And by call validation, we mean that is out of band and end-to-end, a real-time exchange of call details between the originator and the terminator operators. So in this case, uh, both operators will have quite a clear picture on what's actually going on, and operator B will know what kind of calls they can be expecting, and in case they don't actually get those calls, it is clear that something like OTT bypass is going on. So, however, this is only half of the issue, if I may say so, because there's the issue of blocking OTT bypass. So, how do you do that? Unlike any kind of classical voice fraud, the blocking of OTT bypass, OTT termination, is split in two steps. First of all, there's a detection of the voice side of the actual call that is intended for the B party, and then there's the blocking on the data side. So these are isolated procedures which are typically have to be run by different instruments. From the voice part, the crucial information is the list of B numbers in real time. So what you want to get is that you want to know right now which of your subscribers are getting calls via illegal OTT bypass. That's the crucial information to start leg two. And after you have this information, as a second step, what the operator does is each operator has several options to cut off this OTT call. So one of the most popular options we are hearing that our clients are planning to use for this solution for this is throttling via DPA-based solutions, or otherwise limiting the possibility to use messengers for receiving calls. So this kind of needs to be a synergy between two types of solution working together on blocking OTT bypass. Now, what is our takeaway from this experience? First of all, both the fraud scenarios I've mentioned today are risks which are currently being underestimated by the operators, but they are risks that are definitely out there, according to both reports and our own experience. Secondly, with this development of new types of fraud and constant evolvement of fraud, uh, cooperation between operators becomes crucial. So even currently, most frauds are being combated by some kind of uh, cross-check between operators, but it's currently done in most of the cases done offline and after the real frauds have occurred. But without this cooperation, really anything else is impossible. Uh, another popular tool another tool that's widely used at the moment are different tools based on artificial intelligence and machine learning. However, in this case, there's always this kind of delay between the threat and the response. So every time a new fraud scenario uh, appears, there needs to be some time during which the algorithm will adapt to this new reality and will be trained to face this new kind of fraud. And this delay will mean that some amount of fraud will inevitably go undetected. So there's a lot of interesting solutions out there, but these type of solution cannot be the only tool in the box. Uh, so in the end, what we get, or what we actually see, that you really know that the only way you can defeat fraud is that you know in real time what's happening with each of your calls, both inbound and outbound. So it really seems that this kind of awareness can be achieved only via collective security, and more specifically with end-to-end validation of calls in real time. Because if both the originator and terminator know what's going on in real time with each call, then regardless of what's happening in the cloud, really the fraudster can't do much harm, because in any call can be not connected or disconnected in real time, and that's where the fraud can be stopped. Okay, so that's all from me, and I will be happy to answer any questions.